Well, I have to say, so far, this has been a great fellowship today.
You can say that again, Zach. This has been a great discussion today. I'm so glad I decided to come over today instead of running the errands I was going to do today.
Yeah, me too. I was going to get some chores caught up, which I will get done, but if I had decided that work was more important I would have really missed out.
So we have just a few more words to talk about in Guideline 1.
I guess we are up to the word altar. Do either of you want to share your thoughts on what an altar is?
I think altar is a word, like church, that a lot of people have many varied ideas of what it is or what the word means.
Yeah, that's for sure, Zach. When I hear the word altar, a lot of images or ideas pop into my head. I mean, one image that pops into my head is a pile of rocks that primitive nomads used as a type of religious barbecue, to make sacrifices on, burning up animal flesh.
That's hilarious, Joey. Do you think those ancient people were doing something different when they set up those stone altars?
No. Well, sort of. I mean, like we were talking earlier, a burnt sacrifice is something that is given up entirely, and that offering is irrevocable. What we freely give to Christ we cannot get it back. I think the image of a stone altar is not really a pile of rocks, it's just a metaphor for the different ministers as a group. The altar made of stones is a congregation of all the minister trustees, Christ's government agents, his servants that work to use what is given to Christ for his purpose.
That's awesome, Joey. That is a much better image of what a stone altar really is. Man, I really hate all the preconceived ideas or images I have in my head. So really, an altar is kind of like a government's treasury. What's on an altar is what has been given to a kingdom, or a government, for it to use to serve its people.
I'm starting to see that the Bible uses the image of a storehouse to mean the same thing as an altar, a treasury, that is used to serve others in need.
Would it be safe to say that the use of the word table, for example, the Lord's table, is another way of saying the same thing as altar, storehouse, and treasury?
If the stone altar is made up of the minister servants, each trustee being one of the stones in the altar, I'm beginning to wonder about the idea that our bodies are a temple.
Hey, I think you are onto something, Stephen. The stones are living stones. The temple is our living bodies. So a group of ministers, the stones, are also living temples, because they are also living bodies. His church, the minister trustees are his temples, which hold his altar, which is Christ's sacred purpose trust, which is the storehouse of everything the people have freely chosen to give to God, which the servant ministers use to fulfill Christ's sacred purpose.
Well, that brings us to the words of Christ. I know that of is a word that implies the origins of something, where something comes from, or is derived from, or is caused by. Therefore, his church and sacred purpose trust is an irrevocable, ministerial, charitable altar that is caused by Christ, is derived from Christ, originates with Christ, was created by the Christ, which is why it is his and his alone, why it is foreign to the world and the world's kingdoms and governments, and why his church is Christ's church. It is Christ's form of government. It is his kingdom on earth, which is the same as it is in heaven.
Very nice, Zach. Well said.
Yes, Zach, that sums it up very well indeed.
Well, that does at least sum up our discussion of Guideline 1 of the guidelines of his church, altars and auxiliaries. Shall we schedule our next free will assembly to discuss Guideline 2?
Sure, Zach. When shall we meet up again?
I'm free next Sunday afternoon. Shall we get together to have lunch first and then get down to discussing the guidelines?
That sounds good. Shall we say 12:30, next Sunday? We can meet at my place. I'll cook some burgers on the grill.
I'm in. Sounds great.
Me too. I'm in. I'll see you both next Sunday at Joey's house.